Hi, I'm Mary Jane Toth. I want to thank you for joining us today as we work through another recipe from my book, A Cheesemaker's Journey. Hello everyone and welcome to my kitchen. I'm Mary Jane Toth, author of A Cheesemaker's Journey, and today I want to show you how to make a soft French-style cheese. It's rich, creamy, delicious, and can be used for so many different things. And if you've been afraid to start making cheese or you've never made cheese before in your life, this is a great one to start with. And in fact, in my book, A Cheesemaker's Journey, on a scale of 1 to 5, I give this a number 1 for easy. This cheese is one of my all-time favorites. I started making this cheese when I first started getting into it, and it was the one I consistently make year after year because everyone loves it and it's just so fantastic. And when we get done making the cheese, I'm going to show you how to make one of my favorite cheese balls, an onion and pepper. Okay, let's cover the equipment and ingredients that you will need to make this soft French-style cheese. You're going to need a large spoon to help you stir the curds. You're going to need a good quality thermometer that can register. This one goes from 40 to 220 and is actually a Cheesemaker's thermometer and has a little hook on the side so you can hang it on the side of the pot and monitor the temperature of your milk. Then you're going to need a 1/3 measuring cup, some measuring spoons, a lace or a string to tie up your bag of curds. Then you're going to need some cheesecloth. This happens to be a really good quality cheesecloth that I get from Hager Supply. I'll open up and show it to you. This is washable, reusable hundreds of times. It can be bleached to sanitize it. I've actually had some in my kitchen for 25 years. Also, you're going to need a stainless steel pot that has a lid on, and then you're going to need a large pan or pot to drain your curds into. Mostly that's just for holding your whey. And now for the ingredients. You're going to need liquid rennet. This is a vegetarian type. It's an absolute must for this cheese. Do not buy junket brand rennet in the grocery store thinking that you're going to make great cheese with that, because that is mostly used for ice cream and custards and is not a cheesemaker's quality rennet. We're also going to use a culture today called a Chev culture. And the reason that it's called a Chev culture is because traditionally this was used to make your soft French style goat cheese, which they label as Chev, sold in many stores. However, this culture can be used for any kind of milk, so this is the one we're using today. Then you're going to need some non-chlorinated water, and then you're also going to need 5 quarts of whole milk. Now this can be goat milk, sheep milk, or cow milk. Today we are using whole cow's milk from the grocery store. Now that I've added my 2 gallons of whole milk to the pot, we need to put the thermometer in and bring the temperature up to 86 degrees. Now that our milk has reached 80 degrees, we're ready to put the culture and the rennet into it. So we're going to need 1/8 teaspoon of our Chev culture. And this is a DVI, which stands for direct vat inoculant. All that means is that you just sprinkle it directly over the milk and you don't need to do anything special to it except just to add it and stir it in. How hard can that be, right? Okay, let's give it a quick stir to make sure that we have it mixed throughout. That looks real good. And now we're going to use our rennet. We're going to need just 3 drops of rennet, which is why it's really important that you use only the liquid rennet, because you can't really do the tablet in such a small amount. So we just need 3, 1, 2, 3, real quick. And you need 1/3 cup of cool water. Make sure it's cool, because if you use warm water, it will kill the rennet and it won't work. Now I'm going to hold it over the pot. I'm not going to add all this to the pot because we're only going to use 2 tablespoons of this mixture. But I want to give it a little bit of a stir and I don't want to slop it on the counter. So 1, 2, that's all it takes. Now we're going to give it a quick stir. We can take the thermometer out because now we're just going to be keeping it at room temperature and we don't need to monitor the temperature anymore. As long as your house is, room temperature, 72 to 85 degrees, it's just fine. If you happen to live in a climate where it's cooler and it might get down to less than 70 at night, your cheese will still work. It just might take a little longer. Now you need to put a lid on the pot because you don't want anything falling into this, and it's going to need to set on your counter at room temperature. You don't need to pay any attention to it for 8 to 12 hours. I like to start this cheese the night before because it does take so long, and I didn't want you to have to stay here for 12 hours while we waited for it to incubate. So let's put it on the back of the counter. And I'm going to bring over the one that I started with for you the night before. Now I want you to see what the curds look like. They're going to be thick and creamy looking, kind of like thickened yogurt. So let's use our little spoon here so we can bring this up and show you what it actually looks like. Kind of creamy, thick, like thickened yogurt. It's perfect. Now, what we need to do is line our large bowl with our cheesecloth. And then we're just going to pour our curds into the pot. Okay, here we go. Now let me show you a little trick if you have any problem with it slopping like that. If you just kind of take your spoon and set it in there, you can actually use that to kind of break the fall and you won't have all that splattering going on. See how much better that works? Yeah, perfect. Let's get all that beautiful curds out of there. And now we need to tie it up. Now all you need to do with this is just gather up the corners, kind of make it into a ball. And here's where I always tell everybody it pays to have a little bit of a tummy. You can kind of tip the pot to an angle slightly and pull your cloth over to the edge, grab your string, and kind of lean up against it a little bit. Either that or get one of your kids or your husband to come in and tie this for you. And then we're just going to tie it just like you would be tying a pair of shoes. Take that folded cheesecloth just like that, make a loop. And these loops are what you're going to use to hang it on your cupboard. Or if you have another spot in the house where you can make a knob or a screw that you can hang it on, that's great too. Now that our cheese is drained for 6 hours, let's go over and take a look at it and see how it's doing. It's looking pretty good. The bag has shrunk a whole lot. Most of the way is all drained off. We should have a really nice, rich, creamy cheese in here. This is kind of the exciting part of unwrapping your cheese bags to see if you really have what you started out to make. Looks fantastic. Let's put it on this plate so that you can get a better look at it while I peel off the cheesecloth. Isn't that gorgeous? Now let me show you how I like to save and store it and also make use of it for later. This is an unseasoned, unsalted cheese, and I like to freeze it in 1 pound bags and flatten them out because you can stack a lot of bags in a small space. This frozen will keep for about a year in the freezer, and you can take it out and use it anytime you want for whatever you decide you're going to make. And that's why I freeze it unseasoned and unsalted. Herbs and spices and salt tend to make the cheese taste weak after they've been frozen. And besides that, you have no idea how you want to use it. You may want to make cheesecake, or you want to add it to one of your sweet desserts, or you may want to make a cheese ball like I've done over here. There's so many flavors that you can turn this cheese into that it's just great to have a supply on hand. Just remember, every bag I don't salt. That's the way to do it. Let me show you how I do it. I take a freezer bag. Ziploc is best. Any bag with a zip top actually works fine. And then 1 cup equals 8 ounces. So if you can measure this on a scale if you have one, but if you don't happen to have a scale, then you can just use the cup to help you guide yourself into getting a pound in that bag. So this is 1 cup. That's going to be 8 ounces. You just kind of plop it into the bag. There you go. Then do 1 more. I've been freezing this cheese for years, and then when I have a party or friends come over, I can take this cheese out and unthaw it very quickly and come up with a cheese ball in a snap. Okay, maybe the spoon will work a little better. So let's just put that into that bag. Fantastic looking cheese, guys. Okay, now all you need to do is just kind of shake it down in the bag, squeeze out as much air as you can, zip it shut, and press it all flat like this. And then you can stack a lot of bags in a small space, one on top of the other. And also when they're stacked thin like this They unthaw very quickly as well. Now I'm going to show you how to make one of my favorite cheese balls. And for this, you will need some rehydrated onions. These are dried minced onions, and I've rehydrated them already. You will need some cracked black pepper. Cracked black pepper is best because the fine powdered pepper that people traditionally buy to season their food with just isn't as good. You'll need some cheese salt or any non-iodized salt. This will mix into the cheese very quickly. And for this, we need a nice plate. Now you can make this in any flavor you can imagine. You could put hot peppers in it. You could put fresh onions in it. You can put herbs and spices from the garden. Your imagination can really go wild with this. And for holidays, you can even spice it up a little and put in red and green pepper and do a little holiday theme. So let's start out with about 8 ounces of our soft cheese. That looks like about 8 ounces. Let's see how good I am at guessing that measure. I'd say I'm pretty darn good. Okay. I put it on a plate because it keeps your counter clean, and it's a lot easier to mix it up because you can kind of spread it out a little bit. Now we're going to put in a tablespoon and a half. If I were doing a whole pound, I'd put in 3 tablespoons, but we're just going to do 1 cheese ball so you get the idea. There's 1 tablespoon, and I squeezed the liquid off. All I did to rehydrate these onions was just take the minced onions that are dry, put them into the little cup, and put a little hot water on them just to cover the onions, and in 5 minutes they'll be rehydrated like this. Just beautiful. There's another ½ tablespoon. Now because this cheese is unsalted, we're going to need to add a little salt. So you're going to need ½ teaspoon for every 8 ounces. That amounts to about a teaspoon per pound if you're doing a larger quantity. Sprinkle that over the cheese. And now all we need to do is mix these onions into the cheese. And you can just go back and forth, and much like you're kneading a little ball of dough until you get the onions mixed in. This is a cheese that I found that most kids absolutely love. I call it French onion because it's an awful lot like French onion dip. And then I have an adult version that I make that I'm absolutely in love with, and that is a French onion pepper. And as you can see over here, I have one of the French onion peppers that are rolled in cracked pepper. And then the other cheese ball that you're looking at there is a French onion with just a little chives on top for decoration. Okay, now we've got this all incorporated, so you could make 1 large ball, or you could cut this in half and make 2 balls, or you can just take half of it and leave it as 1 flavor, and then take the other half and make it into a pepper flavor. That way you get 2 flavors out of 1 cheese. Now let's put the other half into a ball. And then see this cracked pepper I have here? Once we get it shaped into a ball, we're just going to roll it into the black pepper. Just kind of roll it around, coating all the sides. Oh, this pepper smells so good. I think cracked pepper is one of my absolute favorite spices, especially if you have a grinder and you freshly grind it. And there you go. Isn't it beautiful? A nice ball of cracked pepper. Let me clean off my hands. And then we have this ball of French onion. Absolutely delicious. Wouldn't that be great at your next party? Now, let's see if we can try a little sample of this. I've been waiting. This is the version that kids usually don't care for as much as the French onion, but everybody that tries it that likes cracked pepper loves it. Now that really is to die for. I hope you enjoy this cheese as much as I do. Happy eating. Hi, I'm Mary Jane Toth, author of A Cheesemaker's Journey, and I'd like to tell you about something exciting that's happening at HagerFarmYard.com. I'd like to invite you to become part of our online cheese making community. You're going to find helpful articles, recipes, and videos, and even a forum on there where you can post cheese making questions. I'm very excited to be part of this adventure, and I look forward to helping you be successful in your own cheese making journey.